part 2 of then the stream, which obviously has now had the grid reset, and we will go now just for a quick 25% race. Obviously, we've had a few technical problems. Hopefully, be no more technical problems anymore this evening, but obviously, I suppose if there is, then that will probably be the end of the racing for this evening, unfortunately. But nonetheless, the grid has been reset as best as possibly to basically be the correct grid for what it would have been at the end of lap 10. So we'll have Demac on pole, followed by now Vigo in P2. And then we will have the two Ferrari drivers in third and fourth. Obviously, given it's now only 25%, strategy should be a lot more simpler in a sense, to be just now only a one, well, already would have been a one stop, but be just maybe medium softs, I would have thought. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Yeah, you can go either medium soft or soft medium.
Yeah.
Either way, it's gonna be the best, I think.
Yeah, pretty short, speedy, hopefully. Pretty short, speedy, and hopefully a good little race then now we can have then, and hopefully we'll see what happens then in this race. Then obviously, hopefully the drivers remember to put on their setups before they start. Of course, that'll be important.
Yeah, we said people to wait. We don't want to start with people not having a setup on.
Yeah. Hopefully people will remember their setups, and as you say, not forget that, obviously. But of course, either way, it is only a pre-season race. I suppose it's good we're having these issues now. Not sure if you agree. Well, I know you're a bit tired, but yeah, not sure if you agree. It's good we're having, I suppose, these pre-season issues now rather than next week or the week after, like when we're actually in the middle of the season. Anyway, the lights are on and about to go racing once more, and we are underway, except no one's moved, but they are moving now then from the grid boxes, and this time everyone gets away well.
Very good start with D-Mac and Mikey back there. Ooh, almost got hit by Storm there, with Ralphatari fighting side by side with Mikey. He hits the curve, almost spun out by himself to do a Nikita Mazepin there. And then he's racing 12 seconds like Mazepin, but keeps the car straight. And sticks on P4, and with Whitey spinning around, being last.
And also got, I think it was a Hassel west off the track, and unfortunately he's knocked around Cavolis, unfortunately, so Cavolis now at the back of the grid, and unfortunately in a race this now short, going to be pretty difficult for Cavolis to make up positions and get back into a competitive top 10 spot in this race overall. But I'm sure he will try to do that anyway. So pretty much strategy, obviously, as I said, is going to be a simple one-stop soft hard, or soft medium, or medium softs, and pretty much half the grid have gone for the softs, the other half have all gone for then mediums. But as we come across the line then, first lap under then this race, and ultimately Demac is then the driver leading the drivers around for the first time. And he, well, obviously led the final lap of the last sort of event, I suppose, or last half a race, so he's still leading here. Obviously that gap he had, that 3-second gap, is now been nullified, unfortunately, so for him, he's going to have to deal with a very quick Vigo, a very quick Mikey, and also Ralphatari, who is now on the same strategy as what the rest of the field obviously was on. Obviously, for Ralphatari, he's probably quite used to the softs. Do you think that'll be a bit of an advantage for Ralphatari now?
Yeah, I think after running like almost 8 laps and with doing another 2 now, so it's probably doing 10 laps with softs, he has a pretty good advantage to guys around him. For sure.
Certainly, we'll know how they handle when they're going to probably start to fade away. So for Ralphatari, hopefully he might have learned in terms of just maybe how to treat those tyres a bit better compared to the previous race, and maybe can capitalise off that. However, he is quite close to the back of Mikey on this lap. Is he going to be close enough to maybe have a look into turn 1? I don't think so, as I think the Red Bull got a little bit better straight line speed in the end and keeps ahead then. And now DRS is enabled on lap 3 of this Grand Prix then here, as we see Son on the outside, and they're 3 abreast into turn 1. Pringles comes out on top. Son's going to be under a bit of pressure from then Glenn as they head up the hill, but Son gonna go down the inside at turn 4, makes a little bit of contact with the McLaren driver Pringles as they then go into the S section, and they're both unfortunately coming together, and unfortunately it's actually I think it was Limited Danny and Pringles both being a bit caught up in that. Not sure if Wes also got caught up, but yeah, both of them having a bit of an accident then there and making contact as Limited Danny sends one down the inside of Glenn, and obviously well, doesn't ruin his race, but don't really want to see dive bombs like that, I suppose. Overall, just not healthy for racing, but I suppose also going to give the drivers a bit of slack, because ultimately after about an hour and 27 minutes, and obviously depending on time zones, I suppose everyone could be a bit fatigued, and obviously can't expect professional racers, I don't think, especially not expecting people to last a whole hour and a half. Well, hour and a half, that's pretty long to be fair, as long as almost a real life Grand Prix. But Owen made a lovely move down the inside on Wilder, and well, bit compromise out of turns 2 and 3, so this can allow Wilder a little bit of the opportunity to come back at Owen into turn 4, but Owen hangs there around the outside and keeps the position quite nicely and remains or is up into P8. Anything you're saying now on the track?
I think worth mentioning is position changing things. Wilder's up there from P16 on P9, so he's up 7 positions. Then the Alpine of the jury, I call her, I don't know, so up from P7, 6 positions up. And the biggest loser of this is Cavolis, who's P16, lost 9 positions. So we have a spinner with Wilder.
Yeah,
that's
got
what I
tagged.
said.
Unfortunately, got tagged by the Alpine, although in
Commentator's curse.
Yep, exactly. And now, unfortunately, it's West up 7 positions, which obviously, well, I've probably now put a bit of a curse on him, like you did on Wilder. But to be fair, actually, I've never put the commentator's curse on anyone. There's always the first time for something, but nonetheless, we'll have to wait and see.
You should join next. You should join tomorrow then and see Maestro with Mufasa to hear a pretty good commentaries here then.
Yeah. My commentator's curse. In fact, I'm just going to start then today. Vigo is going to win this Grand Prix. There you go. That is the commentator's curse. Soddily done, I suppose.
I think J-Mac will win.
We're just really tempting it now. We should stop. But anyway, Redubri is currently in 7th then. Field is a bit spread out more in this race. Hopefully everyone remembered to put on their setups. I think they would have. Either way, they had, I suppose, a little bit of enough chance to do that. They had about a good 3-4 minutes to do it. But nonetheless, Vigo and Damac looking pretty close on the track, and Mikey not in the ideal position going down this straight, as he's got 2 cars pretty much up his gearbox. But Damac actually in.
That was a very late, I think, or that was. Did he cross the white line or not?
Not really too sure. I think he crossed the white line correctly. I don't think he didn't cross the white line incorrectly, but it was a late call. It was literally very, very much last second, last minute there by the looks of it. I think he was deciding for, well, to do whatever Vigo and Mikey didn't do, but that might trigger a round of pit stops. Obviously, for Vigo and for Mikey, they will now be at the threat of the undercut. Obviously, the undercut is where the driver behind pits first and then tries to benefit out of a, well, fresher tyre and getting the track position, of course. Vigo
undercut works very good around here. Sorry for interrupting, but I think undercut is good around here. So if you lose time, like they're doing right now between them, and if they don't pick this lap and they pick the next lap, I think maybe potentially DMAC would be first.
The only thing I would say, do they need to react from DMAC? Is that a bit premature, if you know what I mean?
Remember, we have only 8 laps to go, and so they need to react, in my opinion, and they both react. And Mikey crossed the white line there. That's not supposed to happen.
No, but Mikey's decided to stay out. Obviously, Vigo's come in, so, well, Vigo is reacting.
He might was wheel to wheel with someone. He lost for sure a lot of time there with backing wheels with a Red Bull ahead. But he comes out ahead of Vigo.
And by quite the distance. So, obviously, Damac is now ahead on the track, and Vigo is now behind. So, Mikey is still our race leader. However, as you pointed out, the undercut has worked there for the Williams driver. The AlphaTauri driver has now lost the track position to Damac, who made that call to come in. Now, obviously, for Mikey, he's kind of a bit in no man's land. Obviously, probably will need to react to this lap, but will have, obviously, at least 2 laps better tyres than his rival. The only thing, can he get out ahead of, I suppose, Vigo, who...
I don't think so, to be honest. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think it's about a 23-second pit loss, and right now it's 22.4, so...
He will be back of maybe...
behind the Ferrari.
Yeah, Ferrari. Or maybe behind Leaders.
And a bit slower as well coming into the pit lane, as the game ghosted him. So he is in and on for the softs. So Mikey is now on his way then. So where will Mikey come out? Obviously currently the race leader, and is now trembling down the pit lane.
For sure.
So
yeah, he'll be behind Vigo as well.
Yeah, and behind also AlphaTauri, and maybe behind also Storms.
Like I said, they're fighting, but Storm gets out of the track. But he has more warm tires than Mikey has cold tire right now, so
yeah,
he might try to do that right now. But
all over Red Bull potentially, but
Mikey has lost the positions, and I think he should be in with Vigo right there and fight with them. He lost the opportunity though.
However, Mikey will have fresher tyres anyway till the end of the Grand Prix. Not sure how much of an advantage that will be, as we're seeing Vigo and AlphaTauri go for it then, as they're overtaking now Cavolis. And Cavolis has actually built a bit of a buffer for, obviously, them to actually now go,
Hasn't
as
peaked yet.
Vigo is through. And yeah, Cavolis hasn't pit, as I say.
The only one.
He's the only one, but we'll have softs. However, for him, his race was kind of ruined on lap 1, or I think it was lap 1 by Wes, who accidentally, kind of crashed into the side of him. So Cavolis is going to be now going for those softs probably, and from mediums, doing the opposite strategy to everyone, and will be now on the softer tyres to the end of this race. So AlphaTauri is now currently P2, and Vigo is going to take that P2 away. The only thing is, whilst these two fight, just allows Demac to, well, I suppose, charge up his battery pack, keep his battery in good shape and condition, plus also keep his tyres in a better condition, because the more you fight, obviously, the more you'll be taking out, scrubbing speed off the tyre and sliding about, especially in the dirty air. Dirty air isn't really too much of a factor in the F1 game, I don't think, to be fair. Obviously, it is a little bit, but not
not a lot, but still in the middle of the corner, like this corner right here, where that's
certainly hurts the tyres. Also makes your tyres more hotter as well.
So it affects a little bit, but not so much like real life, but it affects them for sure.
So that gap is slowly coming down. Obviously, there's still 5 laps to go in the race, so front 3 all going to be battling for then the lead of the Grand Prix. Who's going to win? Well, got a retirement, and is this going to cause a safety car potentially?
Retirement truck.
Yeah, not really sure as to why, but nonetheless, as a retirement then of the session. If it did cause a safety car, you'd have to assume everyone would come in for a set of the softs, but fortunately it won't, as we're still seeing AlphaTauri fight with Vigo, and both of them giving a good amount of entertainment, as Vigo might have had to look in his mirrors there for a second, as I thought AlphaTauri would send it down the inside at that turn. As we go a bit further back, we've got Nix, who's had a spin, and he's going to lose a lot of positions out then. Was running in a solid P, I think 8 or 7 maybe, and now unfortunately down to 11th. That allows Owen up into 7th, and Son is currently in 8th. Also had a bit of a troublesome race, unfortunately. Did start P4, currently down to 8, currently battling for 9th with Glenn then here at the moment in this race. So, lap 11, we're about to start.
And the gap is closer, but it's 1.2 with Rafi going for a move to Vigo, get the move done before the corner, so he will be ahead, with Vigo right now having a DRS, and AlphaTauri almost in the DRS zone of D-Max, so this is going to be an interesting battle for P1 the last maybe 2 laps.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, and in fact AlphaTauri's picked up a penalty, so that in a sense kind of brings him out of contention for this race win. However, can still be a huge factor in the race if he decides to continue to fight Vigo, of course, because whilst he does fight Vigo, it's not going to help Vigo in any way, shape or form. However, they are now within a second, so down the straight, obviously AlphaTauri will get DRS, so will Vigo. However, Demac won't get any sort of DRS, and unfortunately Mikey, I think, has lost out too much out on this one to the drivers behind. 4 seconds. Still good fighting also a bit further downfield. We've got now Limited Danny going for a move up the inside at turn 11 on the exit. Leaves enough room for the Ferrari and is now ahead then Limited Danny in P9 ahead of the Ferrari driver. Back to the lead then, and we've got Vigo going for a move and gets the move done cleanly before turn 1. Obviously, did he get DRS from the Williams driver ahead of him? No, so this might just allow, obviously, Ralph to come just a bit back at him. However, Ralph this time doesn't go for a move. Very, very close though to the rear wing. Has a bit of a snap of oversteer on exit, Ralph does. But that allows then a bit of pressure to be relieved to the AlphaTauri driver to go and fight for this race win. So, Demac currently leading, Vigo in P2. Vigo with the probably similar now level of performance of tyres after all that fighting. We've got another yellow flag. Probably won't get a safety car.
No, it's too late. Akela with West, with blood to bleed. I think they collide each other.
Accident. Yeah, fair enough.
But Vigo is on 210. He's right behind the rear of DMAG, and I think Vigo is going to win this, in my opinion. He has an incredible pace between the two cars ahead, the one car and the other behind. He has better pace. But you never know. It's lap 13. I think Vigo will go for the move because DMAG doesn't have a DRS. Gets the move done before the... gets a little bit pushy from behind. Push him from behind.
Yeah, and a small push, but he's through.
Akela retired as well on track, I think. Yep.
Yep, and Demac actually comes back at Vigo into turn 4. Both leave each other just about a little bit enough room, but Demac and Vigo making a bit of contact then in that turn 4. As Vigo, well, did leave enough room. Looked like Demac maybe got a bit of oversteer. And then just went into the side, but nonetheless, it is now Vigo ahead of Demac in this final lap and a half then we've got here at Bahrain. Obviously, doesn't really need to worry about the Ferrari too much, I suppose, behind, knowing that he's got a time penalty. And again, sliding on his tyres, had a huge slide actually out of turn 11. So that's going to drop the Ferrari driver back even more. But Demac is in good position here.
I think Mikey needs to be there to pick up the
final podium. Yeah, I think Mikey's fine, to be fair. But on this final lap, we are then. And can Demac get back to that P1? Is going to have to use all his battery. He's got the DRS and is powering his way down the straight. So if he's going to go for it, he's not going to go for it into turn 1. So we'll have to get the better drive out of turn 1 and turn 2. He's on a bit of an older tyre, but can he then go for it? Up into turn 4 then we go. And I think Demac may not have the opportunity here. He looks to the outside, but unfortunately with the worse tyre, obviously cannot get the move done. And that should be ultimately the race for P1 done and dusted.
Never know. We have one more DRS train zone actually. So
true, but
the last one is right here.
I think ultimately, don't get me wrong, I just think this DRS is a bit pointless, this one. But we'll have to wait and see. And
a little bit, yeah, he's on almost every sense.
Vigo got a better exit, and I think that is now probably safe to say Vigo will come home in P1 in this race unless he does some sort of silly mistake from here on in. There is a few corners still left to go, but it looks like Vigo obviously chose to pit a lap later, and that maybe extra fresh tyre didn't lose too much time, unlike Mikey behind, and has obviously done enough to claw it back and is going to win the Bahrain Grand Prix in the pre-season. Dimac comes home P2. AlphaTauri
And
will be off the
Mikey
podium
P3.
in P4. Mikey P3, as you said. Storms in P5. Good race from him. Then we're going to have Dury in P6 for the Alpine crossing the line now, followed by his teammate in P5 of Owen. Glenn and Cavolis both come home in 8th and 9th for Aston Martin. Limited Danny takes then the final top 10 spot. Wilder then in... what is Wilder doing? Son then in P11. Whitey comes home in P12. Not sure why Wilder done that, but did give back the position, or gave the position to his teammate. Then somehow Limited Danny's been DNF'd from the race for finishing the race, which this game never surprises me anymore. But yep. And West is going to come home in, finally, P14. So that's the race then for today. And that is it then.
Thank God it's over.
Yep, indeed. So that's the race then for today, and that, I suppose, is then, well, we'll show the podium, and that'll be it.
So, that's our top 3. This is, of course, pre-season. We're testing things. We'll see how it goes, and we hope next week it's going to be even better. We don't have any problem with it. So yeah, that's it for tonight.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be it then for today. And see you next week then for ERL, I suppose. Then.
Yeah.
Sound.
For tonight.
See you next week.
Yeah, see you next week, guys.